Pete from Kroll. What this video is about is a quick overview of the BR10 burner gun. So this is just a quick introduction to the BR10 and the major bits and pieces on it. Okay, the first thing is when these BR10s arrive at a customer's site, we set them up for the correct flame length for the air furnace or the boiler that they're going to be fitted in. However, what is adjusted at the factory are two elements, the oil and the air. This silver wheel here sets the flame length, and you can check the power rating of this silver wheel setting from the Kroll user guide. It has all the approximate power ratings of the silver wheel. Now, of course, the air window on the side here, and you might want to come in a bit if you want to, Pete, that air window is set so that there's no black smoke at all on the particular flame setting. So if the flame needs to be increased a little bit, you'll have to open up the air a little bit. So it's the old air-oil combination, and we advise customers and clients that you trim the air until the gun just starts to put black smoke out of the flue. That's the point at which it's just running rich, and then just give it about 1 or 2 more millimetres on the side window, and then it should be fine. Okay, other points of interest is down here we've got the oil supply line. Now, plumbers and clients, when you're commissioning the burner gun, you obviously have to have oil present in your fuel line here, and you can see we've got a torch here, and what you have to do is check that the oil comes out of this into this degassing pipe. Okay, and the best thing to do is have a cheap torch sitting nearby, and you might want to come in, Pete, to see that if you can get that in the shot, that there is in fact oil present in this degassing pipe. The top of the oil here will always be at the same height as the day tank level. Okay, so our day tank is pretty much on about 5 foot on that level there. Okay, so that's the degassing pipe. Very important. Also very important, everyone, that you try and keep this as straight as possible. The reason is that if there's a bend in it, the oil can sit inside the degassing, inside the preheat tank down here, and it can't escape because there's too much back pressure or flow resistance. Okay, so you try and keep that first 200 to 400 mils straight, and you won't have any problems. Okay, just another quick thing on the side here is the Y strainer, and that's like a final filter, everybody. And that filters any oil that's feeding into the internal pump that's behind this silver wheel. There's also a major or a coarse strainer in the front of the burner gun. I'd suggest you look at that in the book, and that has to be cleaned every 2 to 3 months, for example, with normal waste oil. Okay, the next thing is up here on the top of the burner gun there's 2 big black boxes. This guy here is the ignition transformer, and that ignition transformer produces a spark inside near the nozzle across the electrodes of the burner at startup time. This guy here is the brain or the controller. It's got a button here that's called a flame failure button. If that button turns red, then the burner gun has failed an ignition and has gone out for safety reasons. This controller manages the ignition, the electric motor, and something we haven't talked about yet is this solenoid valve over here. This solenoid valve normally opens up after about 5 to 10 seconds once the motor starts. What makes the motor start? What asks the burner gun to start? Well, there's a pair inside this 7-pin connector plug that's called the T1, T2 pair. When the boiler thermostat or the room thermostat puts a short circuit across that, it's called for heat and the gun will attempt to start up. Okay, so right now we've got our thermostat in our big air furnace here is calling for heat now, but it hasn't started up because this little silver toggle switch on the side here is in the off position. I'll put it on now and we'll get Pete to walk in and take a shot of the flame. Okay everybody, you can hear the motor spinning up. There's always a delay of about 12 seconds. You might see Pete quickly, it's blinking orange, that means it's in a purging cycle. This will last for about 10 seconds. Drop back down there Pete and let's have a look at the ignition. Okay, so what you can see there is a nice orange flame, and what Pete can show you here is a nice green for good colour on this particular Siemens controller. Okay, another thing that Pete just mentioned to me, everybody, is that depending what model you've got and what controller you've got, this preheat tank, if you put your hand on the top of there, that should be on standard waste oil, quite warm to touch. So it should be up at about 45 to 50 degrees. Some of the newer burner guns, plumbers and installers will have an automatic delay until the gun starts up, and that delay is pretty much based on this preheat tank getting up to around about 80 degrees centigrade, and then the gun is permitted to start. Okay, so thanks very much. Just one very brief thing at the end. All burner guns of this style have a safety sensor or PE cell, photoelectric cell. If I remove the photoelectric cell from the side here, the burner gun shuts the oil supply down and will eventually go into a red or flame fail situation. This is by design and for safety reasons.